Hey guys, what's up? It's Savannah. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another true crime episode here. If you can tell, and I hope you can tell, we are in a new setup right now, and I want to make it very, very clear that this is not going to be the everyday setup for these videos. I do plan on finding a better setup for these, but I just moved into a new house with my family and everything is still kind of in the process of getting situated and getting settled. So as you can tell, the sound is a little bit echoey. Maybe you can tell, maybe you can't. This will not be the regular setup, but this is the best that I could do as of right now. I hope that is okay with you and answers the question as to what all this is. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, today we are talking about the unsolved disappearance of 9-year-old Serenity Dennard. Before we get started, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is BetterHelp. You guys have heard me talk about BetterHelp a lot in the past. It is something that has helped me personally, which is why I recommend it. I've had a really good experience with it, and if you are unfamiliar with what BetterHelp is an online counseling service that provides you professional counseling in the comfort of your own home. If you know me, you know I am a huge advocate for self-help and getting help when you need it and not being ashamed of it. And I feel like as a society, we're kind of turning the page for self-help not to be such a taboo topic and getting help to not be something that's seen as shameful, because it's not. So what happens when you sign up for BetterHelp is when you sign up, you will be taking a very simple questionnaire that will then match you with a counselor, the counselor that is deemed most fit for you. BetterHelp has counselors that specialize in anxiety, depression, LGBTQ+ matters, grief, relationships, sleeping trauma, and a bunch more other topics. So you will be able to find someone who fits your specific needs. And if at any point in time you want to change your counselor, you will be able to do that at no additional charge. So if you guys want to sign up for BetterHelp, you can use my code INSTINCT. All you have to do is go to betterhelp.com/instinct. Again, that is betterhelp.com/instinct, and you will get 10% off your first month using BetterHelp. I'm going to have all the information in the description box below for you. Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this video, and now let's move on to the rest of the case. So like I said, today we are talking about the unsolved disappearance of 9-year-old Serenity Dennard. Serenity went missing on February 3rd, 2019 from Rockerville, South Dakota. And just to give you a description on what Serenity was last seen wearing, she was last seen wearing a long sleeve shirt, jeans, and snow boots. So let's talk about Serenity's upbringing, because for only being 9 years old, Serenity had gone through a lot in her life. When Serenity was born, she was immediately placed into the foster care system. She bounced around from home to home, and because of this, she never really had a sense of security in her family life, and this in turn caused her to have a tendency to act out. Now, things changed for Serenity when she was adopted by a couple in 2014 named Chad and Darcy Dennard. Chad and Darcy were a married couple who fully adopt Serenity into their family. However, in mid-2015, things for Darcy and Chad started to get a little rocky, so much so that they ended up getting a divorce. Now, when they got a divorce, Chad became the primary caregiver of Serenity. After his divorce, Chad then went on to be in a relationship with a woman named Cassandra, and the two of them also got married. Now, collectively together, they had 3 children plus Serenity to look after, so it was a big blended family. However, Serenity proved to be struggling internally. Darcy also remarried. She went on to remarry a man named Brian, and Darcy and Brian lived in Rapid Valley, South Dakota, which is about 30 minutes away from where Chad and Cassandra lived. And like I said, Chad had primary custody and Darcy had secondary custody. Now, a quote from Darcy about her relationship with Serenity. I'm going to look over here so I can read it right. She said that the two of them had a special bond. We did mother-daughter things, getting our hair and nails done and going shopping. I could get her to calm down when she needed that. Now, like I said, Serenity never really had a sense of stability in her family life because of her upbringing and because of always being bounced around from foster home to foster home. And whenever she would get a glimpse of what a good home life could be, whether that was from Chad and Cassandra or from Darcy, her immediate reaction would be to not believe that this was going to last for her. So in turn, her response to this was running away. Now, sometimes Serenity would run away using her bike. Sometimes it would be on foot. It could be in the daytime. It could be in the nighttime. It could be very planned out. She could pack a bag and up and leave, or it didn't have to be planned well at all. And when Serenity wanted to leave, she just would. Now, this became such a problem that the local police department near where Serenity lived knew who Serenity was, knew how often that she ran away, and would always pick her up when they found her and bring her back home each and every time. Now, Serenity was diagnosed with reactive detachment disorder, which is a condition where children don't feel secure in family relationships and in turn can act out. And she was also diagnosed with disruptive mood dysregulation, which caused her mood to change constantly. Now, despite her turbulent upbringing, Serenity is such a special girl. She loved watching movies and singing along to music. She loved spending time with her grandmother. She absolutely loved that. And she loved riding her bike and playing outdoors as well. So that's the background of Serenity's life that leads us up to the next chapter. And this next chapter includes when Serenity was admitted to the Black Hill Children's Home located near Rockerville, South Dakota. Now, like we've talked about, Serenity was known to run away. She was known to act out. She never had a positive or good sense of what a family life could be for her. She never believed it when people wanted to love her. And she just had a lot of trauma that she was dealing with from her past. So her family collectively decided that the best thing for Serenity would be to put her in the Black Hill Children's Home. Now, what is the Black Hill Children's Home, you may be asking? Well, in essence, this is basically a rehab center for children, and not a drug and alcohol rehab if that's what your mind went to, but more so just a rehab for children to really deal with their past trauma and face it head on. That way they could be set up for success later on in their lives. Established in 1893, Children's Home Society of South Dakota, it's the state's oldest human service nonprofit organization, serving as South Dakota's primary orphanage and adoption agency for more than 70 years. Thousands of children were rescued, cared for, and provided permanent families. In the late 1960s, the need for orphanages diminished across the country as the foster system was introduced. To address another growing need, we then focused our efforts on developing residential treatment and special education programs. We also partner with caring parents to help children with emotional or behavioral needs. Through all of our programs, we are ready to come alongside parents or guardians to strengthen their families and help children get the care and service they need. So essentially, this is a place where kids can go and deal with their past trauma to set them up for success once they leave, like I said. Now, Serenity was placed into the Black Hill Children's Home. Like I said, her family believed that this was the best option for her, and she was set up on a 14-month plan. Now, during these 14 months, Serenity was going to be living at Black Hill, and she would be working through her past traumas. So she was placed at Black Hill in July 2018, and she was expected to stay there until September 2019. And at Black Hill, Serenity was allowed to see her family. I believe her family was allowed to visit her at least once a week for about an hour and a half. So it wasn't like she was ripped away from her family and wasn't ever able to see them again. She did have the ability to see them. However, she just lived at Black Hill during this time. And a lot of people, I just want to say, have put blame on Serenity's parents, Darcy, Chad, Cassandra, Brian, all of them, for deciding that this was what the best option for Serenity would be. But I want to say, like, they genuinely didn't know what other options they had at this point. It was getting to a point with Serenity where they didn't know how to properly help her, and they really were looking for any professional who could help them. They truthfully thought that this was the best option for their daughter at this time. So let's discuss some of the events that occurred leading up to Serenity's disappearance. Now, about a week prior to her going missing, Serenity had actually attempted to run away again. She attempted to run away, and once she was caught doing this, she was then put on what is called an arm's length protocol. Now, this protocol is basically exactly what it sounds like. It means that Serenity could not be out of an arm's length distance of any of the staff that are at Black Hill. because that's how carefully she needed to be watched. Now, just a day prior to her going missing, this arm's length protocol was actually dropped. Serenity was not under this protocol anymore, and the reasoning as to why this protocol was dropped has never been released. Black Hill has been questioned about this multiple times. However, it has never been said why Serenity was taken off this arm's length protocol. Even if their answer was, oh, the protocol only lasts this amount of time, they haven't even said that. They have had no reason as to why this protocol was dropped. However, on the same day that the protocol was dropped, just a day before she went missing, Serenity's family, Chad and Serenity's siblings, came and visited her at Black Hill. And according to Chad, this was a very normal visit. Serenity seemed happy. She was playing with her siblings for about an hour and a half, and she was really excited because once her family left, they were playing the movie Maleficent, and it is her absolute favorite movie. So she was super excited to watch it that day. And Chad said that once the movie turned on, Serenity gave him a hug, gave her siblings a hug. They told each other that they loved each other, and Serenity ran off to watch the movie. What Chad didn't know at this time was that this would be the last time that he would see his daughter. So now let's talk about February 3rd, 2019. So at about 10:45 a.m. on February 3rd, Serenity and about 6 other children were playing in the gymnasium at Black Hill, and they were being supervised by 2 employees. Now, from what we know about the situation, Serenity had befriended one of the girls in the gymnasium, and the 2 of them had drafted a plan that Serenity was going to run away, and the girl that was there that Serenity became friends with was going to help her carry out this plan. Now, the plan is that this girl was going to distract one of the employees. She was going to make a commotion. She was going to do something that was going to distract the employees, because there were 6 kids, or 7 including Serenity, and 2 employees. So you have 2 against 7 here. So once Serenity and this girl made up this plan, this girl ran out of the gym screaming. Now, this caused enough of a distraction for obviously one of the employees to have to go and follow the girl, and the other employee to watch the remaining children in the gym. Now, while this was all happening and while the vision was on the girl running out of the gym, Serenity took this as an opportunity to walk out of the building and run away herself. Now, the staff member that was left in the gym did not notice that Serenity had left. And after leaving the gym, Serenity ran across the pathway into the main parking lot of the complex. And the reason authority knew this is that at the time, there was actually a witness. This witness, it was technically 2 witnesses. It was a grandmother and her granddaughter who were dropping off their own child at Black Hill. And they were just in the area and happened to see Serenity run across this parking lot and run away. Now, the grandmother immediately knew that something was wrong. So she stopped her car, got out of the car, and ran up to the building and knocked on the door. Now, when she was knocking on the door, she was actually knocking on the door to where the cook was at, where the chef was at the time. And when the chef opened the door, the grandmother told the chef what was happening and that Serenity had ran away. And that is when the chef tried to radio in on his walkie-talkie remote that Serenity had gotten out. However, this is where it just gets kind of frustrating because the remotes were not on the same channels. So it delayed the message of Serenity being gone to all of the staff members at Black Hill because they weren't all on the same channels. So the other staff members didn't get this message in time. Now, while the grandmother was talking to the cook, the granddaughter remained in the car and was watching Serenity. Now, according to her, Serenity walked in the direction heading towards Rockerville Road. And then after about walking 50 yards north of the complex entrance, Serenity went out of sight of the granddaughter. Now, something to note about this area is that it is a very rural place. Black Hill is basically surrounded by trees and greenery. So that was heavily blocking the granddaughter's view and a huge reason as to why she wasn't able to see Serenity after a certain point. Now, it was about a 3 to 5 minute window from when the grandmother first saw Serenity to when she reported it to the staff member. And then another 3 to 4 minute window from where they couldn't see Serenity anymore to when the search officially started for her. Now, all in all, that's about a 10 to 14 minute window that Serenity was not being watched. That was the head start that she had, about 10 to 14 minutes. And you would think that that wouldn't be enough for Serenity to get that far. However, those 10 to 14 minutes have been absolutely crucial in this case because you wouldn't think 10 to 14 minutes is enough for Serenity to never be seen again. However, that is exactly what happened. Now, the grandmother and granddaughter duo got on the road that Serenity was seen walking down, which was Rockerville Road, and retraced it multiple times. However, they said they never saw Serenity or any other vehicles. Now, when it came to the staff at Black Hill, there were 15 staff members that day and 37 children that were at Black Hill on February 3rd when Serenity went missing. Now, according to the executive director, 4 staff members immediately started searching for Serenity once the news that she had ran away became clear. And there was also a supervisor who was on call that day who received a phone call from employees at Black Hill explaining the situation that Serenity had gone missing, and this supervisor told them to search for another 15 minutes before calling 911. About 80 minutes after receiving that phone call, the on-call supervisor arrived at Black Hill and was absolutely shocked to see that 911 still had not been called yet. It had been over an hour and a half and 911 still had not been called, and that is when the on-call supervisor picked up the phone and called the authorities. And the 911 call was placed at 12:26 p.m. I'm gonna look over here so I get this timeline exactly right because it's very precise times. So after receiving the 911 call, authorities arrived on the scene 20 minutes later at 12:46 p.m. and by 1:16 p.m. 4 different authorities were on site. At 1:28 p.m. police requested assistance from Pennington County Search and Rescue, which allowed 35 people to show up to look for Serenity. When authorities arrived on the scene, they brought in a portable command post and also brought in search dogs and other detectives. Now, the deputy sheriff, who was a man named Deputy Hartland, was notified at 6 p.m. of Serenity's disappearance and arrived on the scene. The deputy sheriff and other authorities initially went door to door. They went to about 40 different homes in the area of people who they believed could have possibly seen Serenity and asked them if they had seen her. However, all of them said that they had never seen her that day. At 4:57 p.m., the sheriff's office released an alert to the media about Serenity's disappearance. And on the first night of Serenity being missing, the search was called off at about 10:30 p.m. and then began again at 7 o'clock a.m. the next morning. I want to mention that the 2 employees that were watching Serenity and the other kids in the gym that day ultimately were fired because of this. Authorities questioned Serenity's adoptive parents, they questioned her birth parent, and they questioned a total of 224 possible leads, which all led to nothing. By February 2020, so just a couple months ago, authorities released the fact that they had searched over 4,500 miles on foot looking for Serenity. However, they have been left with nothing. All of their search efforts have led to nothing. Authorities have said because of Serenity's size, remember she was 9 years old, so she was 4'9", she was very, very light in weight. Authorities thought it was very possible that Serenity could have gone off into the woods because, like I said, the area was a very rural area. So they believe that Serenity could have gone off into the woods and gone too far and gotten lost. Now, what you have to remember is we are talking February in South Dakota. This is very, very cold weather. There is snow outside, and at this time it was 5 degrees outside. And Serenity was not wearing a jacket. She was just wearing a long sleeve shirt, jeans, and boots. And when I did my research, I found out that it would take someone about 10 minutes to succumb to hypothermia if parts of their body were exposed, especially their hands, their head, their ears, and their feet. But we'll get into that theory later. Now, on February 5th, authorities released a statement that said, quote, "If Serenity was outside, it's unlikely she survived. We have not ruled out the possibility that she found someplace warm to shelter or that someone picked her up. We still have an active investigation and will follow up on leads," end quote. On February 6th, the authorities brought in special dog teams from Iowa, Wyoming, and Colorado. However, this didn't lead to anything either. Now, in November 2019, there was video footage that was circling the internet. It went viral all over the internet, and I'm sure some of you will know what I'm talking about. There was a little girl on a Ring doorbell video surveillance footage, and this little girl on the footage was begging for help, and a lot of people thought at the time that this could have been Serenity because it kind of looked similar to her. However, according to Serenity's parents, who have also reviewed the tape, they said that this is not Serenity. Now, it has been over a year since Serenity went missing, and authorities still have no leads. As you can tell, we're going through the timeline of everything they did, all of the resources that they brought in, and still Serenity has not been found. Authorities have made it clear that they do not believe that Serenity was abducted by someone. They think it's highly unlikely that with the small time frame and with the small jump start that Serenity had, that someone would be able to come in and successfully abduct her. There's actually a quote with this. It says, quote, "I can't even begin to calculate the odds that someone would be willing to violently abduct a child on a rural western South Dakota road within a few minutes that they had to do that and successfully abduct her, end quote. And that came from the deputy sheriff that was on the case. Now, according to Chad, Serenity's father, he also believes that Serenity was not abducted, and he has a quote as well that I'm going to tell you. It says, quote, "As far as what I think happened, it changes every day, but I think she's out there. I truly don't think somebody picked her up. I think she liked to run away and she wouldn't run very far, but she liked to see people looking for her. I think she watched people look for her, and I think she went too far and got lost. That's just Serenity, and she's done it before," end quote. Now, both Cassandra and Darcy have expressed their disbelief as to the efforts that have taken place and Serenity still not being found. And I think that's where the big question here is there has been over 4,500 miles searched. Countless search efforts have been brought in, cadaver dogs, so many things have been brought in. Serenity still hasn't been found, and there's absolutely no way she or any person is walking 4,500 miles, so how far could she have really gone? A lot of people who believe the theory that she just walked into the woods and hasn't been found yet believe that she could have gotten stuck underneath a rock, or she could be hiding in a cave and that they just haven't gotten to her yet. Now, as far as Black Hill goes, I want to talk about the safety efforts that have been made since Serenity's disappearance. So the first thing I want to mention, because you guys might be thinking this, is were there security cameras? And surprise, surprise, there were no security cameras at Black Hill at this time, which I find, honestly, it should be illegal. You are dealing with children. This is a center where children live, and you don't have security cameras. Why? Why don't you have security cameras? Now, since Serenity's disappearance, Black Hill has vowed to put in security cameras, if that helps. There has been a policy made that 911 will be called immediately anytime a child goes missing. They've also made sure that all of their radios are on the same channel, which was the problem when the cook tried to get in contact with all of the other staff members and couldn't. There must be a designated supervisor on campus at all times, and runaway drills are performed now, and people who are new hires also get training in those runaway drills. There were also plans to put in new doors that don't allow you to open them from the inside without having a key card. However, I'm not sure if those have been put in yet. That was just something that was talked about. Basically, Black Hill, just to put it straight, is really trying to cover their ass right now. First of all of these things that they're talking about that they're implementing now should have been implemented before this happened. That way this would have never happened. The fact that they don't have security cameras, they don't have runaway drills, they don't have a supervisor on all times, their radios aren't all connected to each other. Again, you're working with children, like these are kids, and you're just, it's a free-for-all, like it just doesn't make any sense. Now, according to Cassandra, Serenity's stepmother, she says that she doesn't directly blame Black Hill for this. However, she did say, quote, "We were literally 24/7 keeping an eye on her to make sure that nothing happened to her or any other kids, and that she didn't leave. They're trained for that, and they have people there all the time for that. Her safety was the number one reason we went the route we did. Here's a child who just tried running, and they took her off the arm's length protocol. I just don't know." And I think that that's also very true. Why was Serenity taken off the arm's length protocol? She just tried to run away a week prior. Lots of unanswered questions here. Now, a lot of people have put Black Hill under a lot of fire for this. They have said that regardless of their protocols or lack thereof and their child security or lack thereof, that there was some hidden motive or a hidden agenda, or that they were responsible directly for Serenity's disappearance. A lot of people have said that. Now, to me, Black Hill, it seems more like laziness than with evil intent, unless it was a specific person there. The institution as a whole, it just seems more like pure laziness to me. So there really are two theories here, and I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say. The first theory is that Serenity walked off into the woods, either got too far, got lost, and succumbed to the weather conditions and ended up passing away of hypothermia, or she found a rock or a cave and thought that it would be best to lie down there because maybe she got really tired from walking. But again, I do find it odd after searching for 4,500 miles, you still haven't found her. To me, she's small, you know, she's 9 9 years old. She's 4'9". She has little legs. Like, she's not gonna go very far. So the fact that they brought in cadaver dogs, they brought in helicopters, they brought in so many people to look for her, and they still haven't. You kind of tackle with this idea of you don't want to go against what the authorities are saying, you don't want to go against what the parents are saying, which is that they don't believe that she was abducted. Because what is the coincidence that Serenity runs away, and right when that happens, she gets taken in the 10-minute span that she wasn't being watched? But we see it all the time. Also, I think that's important to remember too. As you know, outlandish as it seems, we do see it a lot. Kids get taken right beside their parents when they're in public places, in parks, in carnivals, festivals, things like that. Kids get taken all the time. So if there was someone who was either stalking Black Hill, like a pedophile who was stalking Black Hill and would sit out there every day or drive past it all the time to see if there was an opportunity that they could take, and again, we wouldn't know that because there's no cameras, so we wouldn't know if someone was stalking Black Hill looking for an opportunity to take. Both theories have very big question marks to them. Both theories, there's a very big flaw to both of them. The woods one, her going into the woods, is why have they not found her yet? If she succumbed to weather conditions, why have they not found her yet? If she got eaten by an animal, why have they not found a piece of clothing or something, you know, blood, anything? If she was abducted, how would someone have the opportunity to take her just like that? In the 10-minute span that she wasn't seen, how would someone have the opportunity to take her? It seems very coincidental, but then again, stranger things have happened. So I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say about this. Let me know in the comments down below. And with that being said, you guys, that is all for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in to another true crime episode here on my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Savannah. I make videos 3 days a week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. You should subscribe and join the family. I love you guys so much, and I'll be back in a couple days with a brand new video. Bye, guys.